We are live. What is going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of the weekly wrestling recap. I am your host, Seth Baya, baby, the leader of the weekly wrestling report. And joining me tonight is my man, Jared the Nightmare. What is up, dude? What is going on?
Not much. Just living the dream.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Both of them.
Gotta be better than living the dream, man.
I don't think you could get better than living the dream.
I think we can. So, what's going on, everybody, in the chat right now? We got a few people watching, so let's say what is up to everybody in the chat. Right now, we got Roberto saying, Seth, I want you and OG to challenge for the Raw Tag Team Championships. We got the Troll Patrol going, woo, nature boy. We got Jason saying, hey, yo, hello to the Seth guy. I'm thinking, what will Seth recap? We got Jason Molinado. Seth is a heel. I'm not a heel.
That's my job. Don't steal that. You're the face. I'll be the heel.
Yeah, I'm not the heel, dude. I'm the face that runs the place. We got Chris G 29. We got Ronaldo. We got D'Lo Collects, my man. What's up, Dylan? We got Chad in the chat. YouTube is 90. What is going on? So, guys, let's go ahead and get this started off on the right foot. So last week, I did my predictions for SummerSlam. And out of the 8 matches out of SummerSlam, I went 7-1 on my predictions. The only match that I did not predict correctly was the Apollo Crews versus MVP match. I predicted that MVP was going to win, and clearly that didn't happen. So that's on me. But hey, it was a gamble. It was a long shot. I kind of figured that maybe there would be some kind of form of interference, you know, and someone would run out and something would happen, but I guess not. So, but 7-1 for my first predictions, I'll take it. It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. No, if this was Vegas odds, you'd be making bank.
Dude, please. I wish. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get down to the brass tacks. So on Raw this week, we had a major call-up from NXT. We had Keith Lee come up. I'm kind of on the fence about the call-ups from NXT because I feel like every time there's a call-up, they don't have a storyline for them. And they wind up getting buried, and then they wind up going back down to NXT anyway. So, Jared, how do you feel about that?
So, okay, right off the bat, you can tell Vince had his hand in this call-up because he changed Keith's gear. He didn't have his trunks. He had him wear baggy shorts, and then he had him wear a dry-fit shirt. So that right there tells you Vince doesn't have faith in him because Vince don't like big guys. So like you and me, he don't like big guys like us. You have to be a 7-foot tall, chiseled Adonis.
I agree with that. You know, I also do agree with some of the things that I was saying last week, that I feel that Vince McMahon has ran his course, in my opinion, as far as, you know, being in charge of Raw and the storytelling and things like that. I think it's definitely time for Triple H to get involved and step up because Triple H is doing awesome things with NXT. But yeah, I hope the Keith Lee, you know, call up works out. I feel that he is a very good talent. I feel that, you know, he can definitely bang with the likes of Randy Orton, and he can bang with Drew McIntyre. You know, he could bang with all the big guys. I think he's got what it takes. I just hope that, again, they don't mishandle any kind of storyline or anything they got for him, and then he gets buried. You know, so I don't know. Let's see what people in the chat are saying. We got Jez saying every time there's a call up, they fuck it up. Look at Zane Owens and Nakamura, etc. Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Those are all guys. Those are all guys that got buried. I think out of the guys that you mentioned, out of the three that you mentioned, I think Kevin Owens is the one that actually worked out the best out of all three of them. It's going to be tough. Hopefully they do it right. I know that he's supposed to be fighting Randy Orton now at Payback tomorrow night. So we'll definitely see what happens. Pete Martinez, did you hear about Drew McIntyre with a fractured skull? Did you hear that about that, Jared?
No, I don't think that's because
that might just be a work. That might just be a work. So they can set up the match for Lee and Orton, and I think that's where that's going to go. I don't really think he has a fractured skull. I mean, come on, dude. If that was the case, when Randy Orton punted Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, they all would have had fractured skulls. I'm just saying. Hell,
Shawn got right back up. He didn't sell it. He didn't sell
it. Listen, if there is anyone ever to sell any kind of maneuver, it has always been The Rock when he's got stunned by Stone Cold. If you go back and you watch those, dude, he knows how to sell that stunner like it's nobody's business.
Yep.
So moving on to again, Orton attacking McIntyre. He punted him twice, and then McIntyre came back out and interrupted the match with him and Keith Lee. And then next thing you know, Drew McIntyre's talking backstage, and then freaking bam, Randy Orton punts him for the third time in a row. So yeah, of course he's gonna have a fractured skull. It's like, come on, it's a punt. Like Roberto saying Shawn didn't sell it. We all know Shawn didn't sell it, and and Jason saying it's all kayfabe for Lee's push. Absolutely 100%. As far as Retribution goes, they attacked Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic during the Rollins tag team match. I'm telling you, man, I understand they're trying to find storylines for some of these people, and I'm not really quite exactly feeling the Retribution storyline. But however, we did get a sign of who one of the people in Retribution is, even though it's a rumor. It's Dominic Dijakovic. Dijakovic. So because people are assuming, because like after they were done attacking and they were standing on the apron, like the way he was kind of like posed, he was doing his little thing, and so I think he's one of the guys. But who knows? They're all masked. They could change it up at any time. Last week I was out there spatting that I thought Tommaso Ciampa was going to be the leader of Retribution, and clearly that's not the case now since he's back in NXT. So
I read that somewhere too. Somebody thought that.
Yeah. So how do you feel? How do you feel about Retribution?
So right off the bat, and I could tell right away, Vince. Anybody?
You're freezing on me, Jared.
The screw, because it literally asks to tear up the place. So he doesn't have an exact idea on who he wants behind those masks yet, other than possibly Dijakovic and maybe Dio Madden.
Yeah, we'll see. We got Jason in the chat saying it could be Chelsea Green and some of the Evolve guys.
I've heard that too.
Jason is saying also Nexus Part 2, and it's like, do we really need another Nexus?
No, but Wade Barrett's back for a second week next week, so I mean
that is true. And then also the last major thing to discuss on Raw is the weird tag team combination of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax teaming up to fight Bayley and Banks for the tag team belts at Payback. Very interesting tag team to put together, especially since they were both like getting ready to go blow to blow with each other, and the fact that Shayna even slapped Nia Jax in the face, it's like okay, I get it. They don't have any storylines for these people, so it's like let's just put a hodgepodge together and see what happens.
I mean, it can either sink or it can swim. That's the only thing that can happen. You get two powerhouses like this, and they could make a great team, or it could completely fail and it could ruin both of their careers too.
So, like what CMD Geek is saying is basically the same thing that I feel, is that it's basically setting up for the Bailey Sasha feud, because they're probably going to drop the belts,
Big time.
you know. And then we got OG Geek chiming in saying, yeah, that's what he said, because my man doesn't watch wrestling, but he's in here to show his love and support anyway. So what's up, brother?
We need to get him on that train.
I'm trying to. And then we also got my man, Just a Geek from the 305 in the chat. What up, Vince? So, did you hear about John Cena starting up the NWO again? No, I did not hear that, and I hope that does not ever happen.
Kill that now. No.
Yeah, I hope that never happens.
The NWO died in the early 2000s.
All right, so we're now moving on from Raw to now Tuesday night, which is Impact. Impact was kind of interesting. It started out with basically Eddie Edwards coming out and basically calling out Eric Young because of what Eric Young did to Rich Swann. Basically putting him on the shelf. Who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, Eric Young was another guy who was definitely mishandled when he was in WWE. And he was in Impact originally, and then he went to WWE, and he was great when he was the leader of that trio when they were in NXT. I forgot what the name of the group was.
Sanity.
Yeah, Sanity. So that and of course they came up, and then they got mishandled, and then everybody got released. So but he's back on Impact. I think he's much better suited there. Eddie Edwards is a good champion, so it'll definitely see how that match goes. I don't know, man. Impact for me is kind of hard. It's kind of hard to watch. I only really watch Impact because Brian Myers is on there right now, and Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows are on there because those are guys that I like to watch. But I don't know how you feel. How do you feel about the whole Eddie Edwards Eric Young storyline?
I love it. I love that they're just letting Eric Young be Eric Young. They're like letting him take that little bit of what he had in the WWE with Sanity and bring that over here, and that aggression and that mentality, and just letting him run rough shot all over the place.
Yeah. I think that'll definitely be a good match. Definitely interested to see where that goes. I think they're supposed to be fighting next Tuesday. So and G's is saying right now that they fucked up Sanity so bad that one of them went to Imperium. So that's interesting. Roberto is saying OG Geek and Seth confirmed for the Royal Rumble. David Big Dog is saying I don't watch Impact. I am confirmed from the Royal Rumble. So WWE, if you're watching this, I would definitely love to be like a guest entrant into the Royal Rumble and fulfill my lifelong dream of becoming a WWE superstar. So if you're watching this, I'm available. I'll make myself available. I'll even lose the weight and bulk up if I have to. So, oh man, just saying. So, and then also, I'm just saying, man, I'm down. I would do it. I would get in the ring. What would my entrance music be? Oh, there's only one song that I would come out to, and that would be "Lady Humps" by the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
No, I'm just playing.
Oh Lord.
No, if I were to ever come out, my entrance music would definitely be Cult of Personality, because I'm a huge CM Punk fan, and that is my jam. And I would come out, I would do the whole thing. I'd look at my hand and I'd be like, "It's clobbering time, best in the world." I'd come out, I'd do that whole gimmick, and yeah, man. What is it? Troll Patrol is saying it would be Hulk Buster. Hulk Buster. So Brian Myers fought Willie Mack, and Brian Myers got the win. I don't care if he's a heel. I'm just excited that they're giving him storylines and matches, and it's good stuff. It's good stuff. like going back to what I said last week, I don't know if you heard the comment that he made about Vince McMahon, that he was going to basically write his own narrative and not have some 70-year-old, guy determine what he does.
That
And
was gold.
I thought that was awesome. That was genius. It basically said everything that I'm sure a lot of people want to say. So I'm glad he's there. I'm glad he's doing that. I'm glad he picked up his first win, even if it was illegal use of the tights. Just saying.
Hey, you gotta get the win. However, you get the win.
That's true. A W is a W at the end of the day. And then
exactly.
the last note I have from Impact is the reformation of Rhino and Heath as a tag team. I got kids. I think that's awesome. I think they were a great tag team when they were in WWE. So hopefully they continue on the tag team role and they go on there and they continue winning.
I was never too keen on them together. I like Rhino. I've never been a huge fan of Slater.
Okay. I'm a 3-man band. Come on, dude. The 3-man band was awesome.
No, because that was the low point of Drew McIntyre's career. now freaking Slater needs to bulk up and then come back to the WWE and he'll win a world title. True.
Very, very true. Cellcom is saying, do you think you can get Brian Myers as a guest on the show? If I'm able to pull off something that phenomenal, we'll see. I've actually been in touch with Matt Cardona, and I'm trying to see if I can get him to come on. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm able to pull that off. Because if I'm able to get him, I definitely want to try to get Brian Myers and have maybe both of them on at the same time. So that would be something if I'm able to pull that off. Let's see. 3MB triple threat match for the WWE title. that would be pretty funny. So that's really all for Impact. I think moving on to NXT. NXT was actually really good this week. I actually really enjoyed the direction of where it was going. Obviously, the show started out on a sad note with Karrion Kross having to vacate the title, especially since he just beat Keith Lee for it, and he wound up separating his shoulder during that match with Keith Lee. So we don't really know the time frame of how long he's going to be out for. But I can say that was a great match because I rewatched it. And Karrion Kross is an amazing talent. So I'm definitely interested to see where this could go. Now I can see, and I don't know if you would agree with me on this, I can kind of see almost Karrion Kross kind of filling that Undertaker role, kind of. I mean, I know they had hopes for Bray to kind of take that over, but if they were going to do that, then they really could never have Bray lose at WrestleMania, and he's already lost at WrestleMania. I agree. But I feel that Karrion Kross can kind of pull that out. So how do you feel about that, man?
I 100% I can feel that. Just the way he presents himself, and he's a big man too. So the way he presents himself and that entrance is the best entrance we have in the world of professional wrestling today.
I would say it's up there. I wouldn't go that far, but I would say it's up there. Then obviously we were delighted to see Wade Barrett back on commentary, which was great. Now, my only disappointment with Wade Barrett being back on there is that when he came out, they should have introduced him. He should have came out, and then he should have been like, unfortunately, I got some bad news for you. I would have loved if he would have done that, but obviously that's not the case. But you know what? I actually enjoyed him commentating. Yeah. I mean, how did you feel about that?
So before the NWA shut down because of COVID and then all their hierarchy crap, he was on commentary filling in for Jim Cornette. And it's because he's a great talker, and great talkers transfer well to commentary or a role of that nature.
Yeah, it was definitely good to see him back. So hopefully that continues. It was great to finally see two guys who have been wrestling for so long finally get their just dues. I'm talking about Tyler Breeze and Fandango winning the NXT Tag Team Championship. I thought that was great. It's great to see those guys get their just dues. It just sucks that it had to be in NXT and not on the main roster. But, at this point for them, it's a win. And I think if they can build on it, they might work their way up back to the main roster.
I could sort of agree with you, but just this whole like Brazongo gimmick, the fashion crap, and I just doesn't, for me, it doesn't work.
I remember when I took when Fandango first started and we went to a house show in Miami. I took my older son when he was younger, and Fandango came out, his music hit, and my little son was like, da, 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 da. That was great. He's got a great gimmick. But yeah, we'll see where it happens. Freaking OG Geek is killing me right now, dude. He's like, yeah, they really need to build on it. Bro, I love you, man. I know you're trying. I appreciate you. Tommaso Ciampa returns.
Oh yeah.
That was a very short-lived match. Obviously, it was to me that was just a filler match, just to kind of reintroduce him. So I think obviously that he's back now and he showed up in NXT. That whole thing with him being part of Retribution is just going to go to the wayside. So yeah, I mean, he really did mess that guy up.
Yeah. And that's great because I don't like face Ciampa. Okay, I'd rather him be that badass. So for him to be a heel, which is what this is supposed to be, I'm all for it.
True. I definitely am really interested now because since Karrion Kross had to vacate the title, William Regal, Shawn Michaels, Albert, and Triple H sat down because those are the guys that run NXT, and they had to obviously come up with a guy to a way to order to find out who's going to be the new champion. So they came out with this. They came out with this title match. So it's going to be a fatal four-way. So it's basically going to be Balor, Gargano, Ciampa, and Adam Cole. And it's funny because it's like basically Gargano, Ciampa, and Cole are heels. Yeah. And Finn Balor is kind of a face right now. But with Adam Cole coming off of that match with Pat McAfee, he definitely went into that match as a face.
Big time.
So I'm wondering if they're going to maybe turn the direction of the Undisputed Era and maybe keep Adam Cole going in that face direction. I'm a huge Adam Cole guy. Obviously, I'm wearing the shirt. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting to see where this goes. I think this is going to be an epic match. It's going to be a 60-minute Iron Man match, which is going to be nuts. I have a feeling that they're going to give it to Balor. I have a feeling that Balor's going to win. He's got a lot of hype behind him right now. So I think that's going to be the case. Unless they decide at the last minute to change it up and they give it back to Ciampa and then he's reunited with Goldie. So, we'll see what happens with that whole story arc. I don't see Gargano getting it anytime soon, especially since he just dropped the North American title at the last takeover. There might be a chance that Adam Cole might get it. It just depends on what route they want to go with him, because I don't think they have anybody lined up to fight Undisputed Era right now. So,
No.
I mean, what do you think about that?
So, like you said, I see. Good quick. I see Balor, but so like before he was brought back down to NXT, he was screwed up on the main roster. So, and when they brought him back down, and he's doing his Prince thing, like when he was in New Japan, it revitalized everything about him. So he's got that momentum. I say, yeah, Balor.
I mean, obviously, we will never see the Bullet Club in NXT or WWE, which sucks, because I would love to see the Bullet Club, but we know that'll never happen. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a great match. I'm definitely gonna be glued to the TV Wednesday night watching that one. I think that's gonna be a great thing. OG Geek, I don't know anything about wrestling, but I would pay to see Seth open up a hot toy and slap someone across the face with it. If that's allowed in wrestling, I don't know.
Oh, sort of.
Yeah. Jesus. Pete Martinez is asking, whatever happened to Pete Dunne? Did he get hurt? Because I haven't seen him around.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Robert Morero is saying we got the Gun Club in AEW. Ugh, the Gun Club. Billy Gunn just doesn't know when to quit. That's just my opinion.
He really doesn't. And he's starting to show his age too.
Yeah, he is. Undisputed Era, never to the main roster, please. Jason, I totally agree. But you know what? But it sucks then, because if they don't get called up, there's nowhere for them to grow. There's nowhere for them to go up to. I mean, to be honest with you, I see Adam Cole staying in. I see all the Undisputed Era staying in NXT until Adam Cole's contract is up, and then I see Adam Cole moving over to AEW. That's what I see. That's what I see.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I'll say this: So Triple H is treating NXT as its own brand, which is fine. It's not developmental. It should be its own brand. NXT is involved in the draft, and Triple H hinted that anybody from Raw or SmackDown can be drafted to NXT. So if the Undisputed Era never move up,
I get it, man. But but it's funny because like people like me and some other people, and I can't speak for everyone else, but I know when it comes to me, I love NXT, but I look at NXT as it is kind of like the minor leagues in a sense, because they're always talking about how they get called up, like Keith Lee just got called up. To me, I look at that as like baseball. You're in the minor leagues, you get called up to the main team. So I mean, even though they're saying NXT isn't technically developmental anymore and its own brand, in a roundabout way, it's still kind of like the minor leagues. So
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so I mean, it can go either way, to be honest with you. Let's see. The Jacksons killed him. Cole is dead. LOL. Austin Saxton, Adam Cole already resigned. Oh, okay, then great, good for me. McButter Golem, it's the G League of the NBA. When was the last time someone got busted open? I don't know when the last time someone got busted open. People get busted open all the time. Seth versus Keith Lee. Keith Lee would probably fuck me up.
You'd die.
I would die. He would squash me like a bug. I'd be dead.
I'll go grab my referee shirt. We can do it.
Yeah, we can go get that on. So that goes as far as NXT goes. That's where we're at with NXT. AEW was very interesting this Thursday night. It's been on Thursday night, unfortunately, because of the NBA playoffs. Hangman Page costs the Young Bucks the match.
That was shocking.
And yeah, I mean, he's been part of the elite forever. So it was definitely interesting to see that happen. So I don't know, how do you feel about that, man? Did we lose you? You're frozen. We lost Jared. Jared. Oh, your picture's frozen.
What's up? Are we good now?
Yeah, you were good. We're good now. So how do you feel about Hangman costing the Young Bucks the match?
So for me, because I'm a bad guy at heart, so I loved it, and I could see why they got to take every advantage they can so him and Kenny Omega can keep their tag titles.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no friends in this business. I've been taught there's no friends in this business.
Yeah. Jason is saying Hangman, FTR, Sean Spears is Tull's version of the Four Horsemen. That could be interesting. That could be interesting.
And that's what I like about AEW having these managers.
Well, I like the thing is that I like the fact that the storylines are a lot better. They're basically letting the wrestlers determine their path in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
So that's why I like that, because they know the wrestlers know how to listen to the fans. They don't want to keep reusing old storylines over and over and over again. So, and that's kind of what we see in WWE right now. It's basically the same storyline, just different characters.
Yep.
So I think that, that's why a lot of people are leaning towards AEW that way. That contract signing between MJF and John Moxley turned out to be really interesting at the end. The whole thing was that they were trying to trick John Moxley so he couldn't use the paradigm shift on MJF during the match. And then, he was like basically egging him on. And he's like, oh, I can beat you without it. I don't need it. And then, he signs the contract. But then, he tricks him saying, hey, by the way, you need to learn how to read a contract because I added a stipulation in the last page where, for a lot of the people that don't know, the lawyer that was MJF's lawyer is Smart Mark from the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. And he's actually going to be fighting John Moxley on AEW this week. And on top of that, the paradigm shift is going to be allowed to be used. So this should be interesting. Hopefully John Moxley doesn't mess him up too much.
Mess him up all he wants.
Yeah. So we'll see. I definitely like MJF. I look at MJF and I see kind of like a really good mix between Ric Flair and Triple H.
Really?
Yeah, because he dresses that way, very high end, very high class. Both Triple H and Ric Flair were great on the mic, and he's really good on the mic when he's talking. So I think he's a good mix between those two. So I would definitely like to see where this goes. I do have a feeling that MJF probably is going to wind up beating John Moxley because Moxley's kind of had the title now for quite some time, unless they don't want to take it away from him. But they're giving MJF this huge push, so I can't see him not dropping the title to MJF.
That's a good point.
What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so back to your statement about MJF being, you see like Triple H and Ric Flair. I see the Miz.
Yeah, I guess you can kind of see that a little bit too.
That's just a little bit of that, and then a little bit of Ric Flair. But with this big push, see, I'm torn because it could go either way still. Because Moxley still has this big momentum, but then MJF is also getting this big push too. So it's one of those.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hit or miss. I mean, like Jason just said in the chat, Moxley was voted the #1 wrestler in 2020. So, I mean, do they want to keep having him be the face of the company, or do they want to give MJF a chance? You know, maybe have a heel hold the title for a little bit. You know, who knows? I mean, you know, Jericho had the title for a little bit. You know, and Jericho is definitely a heel in AEW, and then also now, you know, Moxley's been the face. So now I think MJF is, you know, finally going to get his just dues. But we'll see about that. The Dark Order celebrates the win over Cody. I like the Dark Order. I love that Brody Lee is getting his chance to shine, because that was something that he never had the opportunity as Luke Harper in WWE, you know, because they basically just paired him with the Wyatt family, and he was just kind of like a side story, in my opinion. But being able to see him shine on his own is amazing. His mic skills are great.
100%.
So I'm definitely liking that. It was great to see Dustin Rhodes come out, Scorpio Sky, QT Marshall, and then my new favorite guy in AEW, Matt Cardona, coming out to save the day. Given you know, I'm so happy that he's found a home, and hopefully, because right now he's just on an appearance-based contract, so it's kind of like as they need him, but they're trying to work out a long-term deal from what I read. You know, when he had that tag match with Cody, I initially thought that, okay, maybe they brought him in to have a run of matches with Cody, because, like, you know, they're friends, and then maybe, you know, he turns on him and they fight for the belt, you know, and there would be that kind of thing. But I don't see that storyline anymore, especially with the Dark Order. But I would definitely like to see Matt Cardona get his just dues, maybe have a title run, you know, not win the title at WrestleMania and then have him take the title from him the next night, which is the shittiest thing ever. And I hope he's really found his home. He looks like he's in great shape. So hopefully, I'm thinking now this might lead to like a 4-man match where it's 4 guys from the Dark Order versus, you know, these 4 guys from, I guess if you want to call it, the American Nightmare family. You know, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think that's definitely going to lead to a 4-man match. What do you think about that?
Right off the bat, they had no right sticking their nose in the Dark Order's business, but that's just me. But no, seriously, you take 4 of the guys, 4 good guys from the Dark Order, and then those 4, and you could have a great 8-man tag match.
Yeah, it could be one hell of a match. Again, like I said, I'm happy that, you know, Matt Cardona is getting his just dues, and, you know, we'll see what happens with that. And then the last note that I have from AEW was that brutal attack that Orange Cassidy just came flying out of nowhere and just basically beat the shit out of Jericho at the announce table, which was great. I actually really enjoy watching Orange Cassidy. You know, he is definitely going to be a great talent moving forward. But it's Jericho, man. Jericho's the demigod, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Jericho. It's like I can never not go against Jericho, whether he's a heel or he's a face. You know, Jericho to me is one of the all-time greats, and should definitely be on anyone's Mount Rushmore of wrestling, in my opinion, because not only the way he's able to wrestle, but of how he is on the mic.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't skip the table match, guys. I'm getting to it. Jeez, man, everybody's jumping the gun. So go ahead, man.
So yeah, Jericho. And he can also reinvent himself on the drop of a dime too. He's that creative. He's that great on the mic. And if he's not on your Mount Rushmore, then you're just a loser.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that if you don't like him, well, guess what? You just made the list. So
That's a dead gimmick.
yeah, I love that. That was the great. To me, that was one of my favorite things when he did that. He's like, "You just made the list."
He hated it.
I know he hated it, but I loved it. I thought it was great. As far as that epic crazy ass table match went, that was a crazy match, and Sammy is turning out to be a really good talent. I just don't like the fact that I feel like Matt Hardy is turning into a jobber. Like they're just basically using him to put up against people. When Matt Hardy showed up in AEW, I was really looking forward to him recapturing the broken Matt Hardy. And he really didn't. He didn't. He's just now talking about how he's the multiverse of Matt Hardy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where so on his YouTube page, he's with all this race stuff going on. He said he's done doing these gimmicks.
Yeah.
He's just going to be Matt Hardy, and he's even his big thing now is he's more focused on helping the younger talent. So if that means putting them over, then he's going to put them over.
True. Which is good. I mean, which is good. It shows that he knows his place in a roundabout way. But I mean, eventually you're going to get tired of being the guy that puts people over. I mean, that's how I would look at it. But that was an epic table match. It came down to the wire, and then of course, Sammy just putting him through that table at the last second was a great match. Definitely interested to see what happens in the upcoming weeks. I think next Saturday is their pay-per-view.
Yep.
So I think it's All In, I think is what it is. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And then now we've got to get to SmackDown. And there were some really interesting things that happened on SmackDown. So they had Jeff Hardy defend the Intercontinental Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura, and AJ Styles was on commentary. Jeff Hardy wound up being Shinsuke Nakamura, and then AJ Styles was running his mouth, and then he gets up to Jeff Hardy gets up to the ramp, and then all of a sudden Sami Zayn's music hits, and he just comes out of nowhere. Like you said pre-show, he looked like a freaking homeless guy that they just plucked off the street.
He does.
So, I mean, and it's true. He never really lost the belt.
That's true.
So technically, if you want to get technical, he's still the Intercontinental Champion. So I can definitely see if they're going to try to set this up as a three-way, as a triple threat match, where it's Zayn, Hardy, and AJ Styles. But I don't think they're going to let Jeff Hardy just drop the title just yet.
No. They'll do this so they can because he hasn't signed yet. His contract's still coming up, and this will be the determining factor on if he wants to stay or not.
Yeah. Now the next thing is kind of interesting. So we had a little bit of a tussle between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross.
That wasn't a little tussle.
She
broke her heart.
She broke her heart. And I think Alexa Bliss is going to wind up possibly leading into possibly Sister Abigail with Bray Wyatt. What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm okay with that. They've already hinted at it with the doll that he has that looks exactly like her and that has the spikes like her entrance attire. So yeah, I mean that could be hinting at it, or they could just be throwing everybody for a loop.
Yeah, I think she's going to wind up being Sister Abigail moving forward. I think that that'll be an interesting pairing of her and Bray Wyatt together. I'm glad they finally found a home for Bray Wyatt, because I always liked Bray Wyatt. I always liked the character. I think they hit a home run with The Fiend. So hopefully they just continue on down the path that it's going on, and they just don't make like a joke out of it and ruin it. And then we got hit with a major bomb at the end of SmackDown, where is now Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman? Has Roman Reigns become a Paul Heyman guy?
If he has, that's a very stupid idea.
Well, you see, and I kind of thought so at first too, Jared, and I had some time to think about it since last night. Roman Reigns is not really that great on the mic, and having someone like Paul Heyman pairing with him is maybe going to give him that push. Now, the problem I see with this is, obviously, if Reigns is with Paul Heyman, Reigns is definitely going to be a heel.
Yes.
And it's going to be interesting to see the two top guys in the company, in my opinion, as heels. You're going to have Roman Reigns as a heel on SmackDown, and you've got Seth Rollins as a heel on Monday Night Raw. There's got to be, and honestly, again, going back to Drew McIntyre, I just don't feel that Drew McIntyre is the face that can drive the company right now.
No, not right now. No, I agree with you 100%.
So with that being said, for those that aren't familiar with this certain situation, so AJ Styles was on Raw and left to go to SmackDown because AJ Styles just did not like working with Paul Heyman, and that was a known thing. So now that Paul Heyman is on SmackDown, I'm wondering if that was the reason why AJ dropped the belt to Jeff Hardy, so AJ can kind of work his way back to Raw, and then maybe if he goes back to Raw, they keep AJ Styles and they make AJ Styles a face, and then maybe he can be the guy who drives Raw, because I like AJ Styles. I like AJ Styles as a face. I don't like him as a heel. That's just me. Even though he's good at it, I prefer him as a face. What do you think about that?
Okay, so right off the bat, when I saw Paul Heyman on SmackDown, I was like, oh boy, that's going to be great with AJ Styles. AJ Styles hates his guts. He's the reason his best friends were fired.
Yeah.
But so I'll think of it like this: is AJ has said that that's water under the bridge. He wants to move on. However, it will be very, very difficult for me personally if I was in AJ's situation like that to be working under Paul Heyman when my best friends were fired like that. So I would approach Vince and I would say, "Hey, send me to Raw."
Yeah, I mean, I gotta see the move happening. There's too much there's too much going on Raw. I should say on SmackDown, especially now with Roman Reigns back in the picture. You have three huge names on SmackDown right now. You've got Bray Wyatt, you've got Braun Strowman, and you've got Roman Reigns. Now, one out of those three, in my opinion, I feel are going to get buried after this triple threat match, and I have a feeling it's going to be Braun Strowman. As much as I hate to say that.
Yep, I have to agree with you. Yep.
And to me, I see obviously Kofi's hurt, and I see that, and obviously Xavier Woods is still recovering, but I'm wondering if Big E is being set up for a big push.
I would hope so.
Jason,
I would hope so.
I didn't skip Sami Zayn coming back. I spoke about that, man. You weren't paying attention. I spoke about that already, dude. Come on, man. Come on. Go ahead, Jared. Sorry for cutting you off.
I would Big E, one guy out of all of New Day that I wanted them to push the most. He has the talent and he is good on the mic. But
Yes.
this retarded New Day crap to me doesn't work. And the fact that he's got this singles run going now, he needs to drop the New Day crap altogether.
Well, I think they don't want to drop that just in case the singles push doesn't pan out. So at least they have that as a fallback option. I mean, I was happy personally that Kofi got his just dues. He actually got a title shot. He won the belt. He had a run as champion. That meant that said a lot about his work ethic and how people felt about him in the company. CMD Geek is bringing up a good point right now. It could be Big E versus Roman Reigns for the WWE title at one point. That would make an interesting match. But we'll have to see how good Reigns is as a heel. We've never really seen Reigns as a heel, as a single competitor on his own. When the Shield first came in, they were heels. Really, Ambrose and Rollins did all the talking. Reigns didn't really talk that much. Reigns would just come in at the end and be like, "Believe that," and that was, and that was it. So we'll see what happens. I hope Big E gets the singles push. I hope it works. I hope it works out. But yeah, and I'm kind of curious to see what'll definitely happen now with AJ Styles. To me personally, they don't really have a whole lot of big names on Raw right now. I mean, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and Seth Rollins can only do so much. That's how I feel about it. I know Aleister Black came back and he kicked Kevin Owens. I don't know if that's going to start a feud between them or Aleister Black's going to come back now and start attacking Seth Rollins, because since Seth Rollins messed up his eye, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? But I just feel maybe AJ going over to Raw might benefit Raw a little bit more.
It would. If Raw's a 3-hour show and you don't have a lot of big name stars, and SmackDown's only a 2-hour show and you have a crap ton of big stars, it's hard to balance.
We'll see. And what Austin's saying in the chat right now, Rollins is going to be taking a break pretty soon because Becky's going to be a baby. So, it'll definitely be interesting to see how that happens. Jason's saying Aleister is going to be getting a new gimmick. So I don't know about that. I always liked Aleister's gimmick the way it is. So hopefully they don't ruin it too much. I don't like the fact when they change people's gimmicks and he's already been established. His gimmick has already been established, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Guys, tomorrow night is Payback. And I have another run. I have the rundown of the list of matches. I'm going to make my predictions. Jared's going to make his predictions. And then obviously the following Saturday night, we will do in the beginning again. We'll see what predictions were right. So as far as I'm concerned, the triple threat match between Bray, Braun, and Roman Reigns, I'm going Reigns to win that triple threat. I think it's going to be the start of that. They want Reigns to be the forefront of SmackDown, and I see that happening. What do you think, Jared?
I agree with you. I have to go with Roman as much as I hate to. Roman.
So we also got the chat going at it too. We got Austin saying Romans. The Troll Patrol is saying Roman. Let's see who else is going to be making predictions. We got anybody else in the chat making predictions? We got Jason. Jason is saying The Fiend and the New Family win. So maybe Alexa Bliss comes out and intervenes. Who knows? Abel Lopez is saying Roman Reigns. Roberto is saying The Fiend. So, I mean, obviously the majority of the chat right now is going with The Fiend. Going with Roman, I should say. So I'm going with Roman. Matthew Stephen, Retribution causes Roman to win. That could be interesting if that happens. I don't think they would ruin that type of a match though with Retribution coming out.
They better not.
The women's tag team match. Banks and Bailey versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I'm gonna go with Baszler and Jax only because, like Jason said earlier in the chat, and I agree with him, it's gonna set up the feud now between Becky and Banks. So, well, not Becky and Banks, Bailey and Banks.
I got to go with Bailey and Banks just because I feel like it should still be a slow burn to this feud, and it's slowly getting there. But I'd say keep going with it.
Okay, so we've got Austin is saying Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. We got the Trolls saying Team BB. We got Jason saying Baszler and Nia. So it could very well be. It could very well be. Pete Martinez is saying B&B role models. Sasha causes them to lose the titles. So Matt's going with Shayna and Nia. I'm going. Nathan's Gaiman's going for Nia and Shayna. Think about how bad it makes the Fiend look if he loses the championship after a week. I agree, Adam, but Roman Reigns just didn't show up just for nothing. I mean, Vince McMahon is absolutely in love with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns to him, in my personal opinion, Vince McMahon looks at Roman Reigns as the second coming of The Rock. That's how I feel. Vince McMahon looks at him as like the second coming of The Rock. Now, granted, no one will ever hold a torch to The Rock.
No.
The Rock is probably, again, up there on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Wrestling skills, meh. But as far as mic skills go, probably one of the best of all time. One of the best of all time. So then Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. To me, that's an easy choice. It's Keith Lee. You're not going to bring Keith Lee up to lose that soon. That's just how I look at it.
So I'll have to. Oh, this is tough because it could always end up like what happened on Monday too, and ended in no contest.
Yeah.
So, and that way it saves both guys from losing, and they still look strong. But I'm gonna have to go with Keith.
Who are you gonna go with?
I'll have to go with Keith.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that 2 week. The same thing in within the 1 week. I don't think they're going to do that twice. Jason is saying double disqualification, retribution enters. We got Pete Martinez saying Randy, the Troll Patrol saying RKO. Again, I don't think they're going to bring Keith Lee up to lose. And that's how I feel about it. We know Randy Orton has his quirks about being in the business and, being able to put one over. Nathan's Gaming brought up a good point. I feel like he says he feels like Drew's going to help Keith win. Maybe he comes out and Claymore kicks Randy Orton while the ref isn't looking. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley. I'm going with Bobby Lashley on this one. Since he did not drop the title to MVP, I think they're going to have him drop the title to Bobby Lashley.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
So, and we got Austin in the chat saying Bobby Lashley, the Troll Patrol left Bobby Lashley, Lucky 13 Lashley. Have you seen Keith Lee back in the day? That fool was skinny. We got the Rye Bread saying Lashley is going to kill him. Pete Martinez, Bobby Lashley, Jason Mirnoff is saying Bobby Trashley. Nathan's Gaming is going for Apollo. So who you got? You're going with Bobby on this one, Jared?
Yeah, I got Lashley on this one.
Okay. Then we've got a repeat tag team match from Monday night. We've got Dominic and Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and the Apostle Murphy. So I'm going to say Dominic and Ray get the win.
I have to second that.
And the only reason I'm even saying that is because their match got ruined during Raw with Retribution. And of course, Seth Rollins and Murphy escaped unscathed and untouched. So I'm going to say I'm definitely going to go with Dominic and Ray. I think Dominic gets his first win in the WWE. He did put on a really great match against Rollins at SummerSlam. Me personally, I would have liked to see Dominic build himself up before they did this storyline. Like, I would have liked to see Dominic in NXT and develop himself and work his way up before they brought out this whole storyline with Rey Mysterio. But I guess maybe they see something in him that maybe he doesn't belong in NXT. I mean, I don't know. And then we've got, what is it? Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. I'm going to say that the King of Bros wins by a landslide. I think Baron Corbin is turned into a jobber. And
that's rude.
What?
Oh, that's rude. How are you going to call that man a jobber like that?
He is a jobber.
Have some respect. Have some respect.
He is a jobber. He's basically there to put people over. That's what a jobber is. You know. So I'm going with the King of Bros. Who do you got, Jared?
I got Corbin.
You're gonna go with King Corbin.
Yeah, I can't stand Matt Riddle at all.
So we got let's see, we got Pete Martinez saying bro, Nathan's Gaming, I'm for Riddle, the Bro King Jason saying Roberto is saying that the King wins with Shorty G helping. We got the Troll Patrol with Riddle, we got Lucky 13 Riddle. Corbin was good in his prime, now he just sucks. Matt Riddle better win to do Ohio. What is it? Matt Riddle better win to do the Ono finish from TakeOver War Games instantly. Abel Lopez is saying the King of Bros. Jez is saying I can't stand Corbin. So it looks like it's a good mix, man.
Jesus. Y'all are destroying Corbin. Y'all gotta chill.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nah, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's it? There was only 6 matches? Yeah, I guess there's only 6 matches. So it'll definitely be interesting. I've got my predictions. Jared made his predictions. Obviously, you guys will find out the results tomorrow of who wins. Cellcom is asking, do you ever think Otis will cash in? That could be interesting. I just don't know. I know Vince McMahon is kind of high on Otis. So, and I don't think that they would have Otis cash in on the likes of Roman Reigns. That would be too much of an insult to I guess the level, the high regard of level that Vince McMahon holds Roman Reigns to. So I could see maybe him cashing in on Braun, or maybe even the Fiend, but I don't know. Lucky 13, I can't believe pay-per-views are a week apart. They just did that for this week, because obviously they didn't get all the talent on SummerSlam that they wanted to get. So now they're doing Payback back-to-back. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. Otis cashes in on the tag team belts was a rumor. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they were going to cash in on the tag belts, but I guess not. In his first run, and in his first end of days run was the best. Yeah. Corbin, when he first came in, was good. Otis is going to cash in on a tag team. Corbin is like Jar Jar Binks calling stupid.
Whoa!
People don't like Corbin, dude. People just don't like Corbin.
Y'all are
Austin
animals.
Jackson can't stand Matt Riddle. Watch him on Talking Smack with The Miz from this morning. They rented the Amway Center for only a short time. Seth is officially the heel. I'm not a heel. I'm the face. I'm the face that runs the place. Otis cashes in on Reigns. Roberto, I can't see them letting Otis cash in on Reigns.
No.
I can't see it. They hold Reigns in too high regard to cash in. But if that does happen and he does cash in on Reigns, Reigns is going to win. And it's going to be a waste of money in the bank, in my opinion.
And I'm going to go and riot and destroy some stuff because that would be 100% stupid.
Yeah. Because Vince McMahon does hold both guys in high regards, but clearly I think he has Reigns higher up on the pedestal than Otis. And that
opinion. Surprises me that he's high up on Otis like that.
Because Otis is a good character. They've really developed him. And he's a likable character. And if you think about it, there's really no big fat guys like that people can get behind. So that's just my opinion. I can see Seth OG cosplay as the Twin Towers. LOL, just joking. Wow.
Couples costumes.
Yeah. Jason saying if you make money, Vince loves you. Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Vince loves Reigns for some reason, but he's been pushing him for years. Yeah, because like I said, I think Vince McMahon looks at Reigns as the second coming of The Rock. That's how I feel about it. But clearly you've got to pair him with Paul Heyman now to help him brush up his mic skills. And he's just not a one-trick pony, But we'll see what happens. Guys, it has been fantastic. Jared, the Nightmare, thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Weekly Wrestling Recap. Thank you, everybody, for joining me in the chat, joining us. I will leave the link in the description below for Jared's YouTube channel. Make sure you go check that out and show him some love and support. And then we will have another guest on next week. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Weekly Wrestling Recap. If you did, make sure you give a thumbs up. If you already haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Guys, we are almost at that 20K subscriber mark. So make sure you tell your friends, they tell their friends, you tell everybody, and they get us there. And until next time, guys, I'll be jumping off that top turnbuckle and seeing you on the next week's episode of Weekly Wrestling Recap. So later.